The Angry Marks Podcast Network is brought to you by WrestleWork, a social network to connect, create, and share everything about pro wrestling. Check it out today at WrestleWork.com.
You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Without further ado, let's get on with the first guest of the evening. The man was a former Smoky Mountain heavyweight wrestling champion, knocked off none other than Jerry the King Lawler. He is a veteran of WCW. He has been in Japan, Australia, you name it. The man has been there. And you know what? We had the distinct pleasure of watching this man be entered into the 2015 WWE Hall of Fame this past weekend. Bobby Blaze. What's that, Kevin? Oh, it wasn't Bobby Blaze. It was Alundra Blaze. Oh, I'm sorry. I got that all mixed up. I'm sorry. Bobby Blaze, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. We almost got away with it. I think she spelled her name different. Of course, I have nothing but respect for her and all those that entered the WWE Hall of Fame this past weekend. But I appreciate the introduction, and I'm doing great. Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure doing this show. I've been looking forward to it for a couple months now. And you've got great guests, you've got a great show, and I enjoy the podcast, and thank you for having me on.
Well, it's an incredible honor to have you on. You know, speaking of the Hall of Fame and obviously WrestleMania weekend, did you get to watch the Hall of Fame?
No, I didn't watch the Hall of Fame yet. I will. I'll watch it, I'm sure. I know some of I've met all the people, of course, that got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Congrats to them all. But no, I did not this weekend. I was traveling quite a bit over the weekend. I did not get to watch anything. Everything I know is strictly off of social media and through people that just contacted me and let me know what was going on. Other than catching up with what took place last night on Raw, I just kind of tuned into that but yeah, it was the first Mania I've missed in a while actually live. But I have seen. I downloaded a lot of stuff this morning and caught up on it. But no, I'm not going to sit here and bullshit or lie to you. I did not watch Mania this weekend. I could probably kick myself in the ass for it from everything I've heard, everything I have seen of the clips. But no, I did not. With the Bushwhackers, I know personally from down when I worked out and trained out at the gym in Florida with them at their gym and having done some independence with them. And having Kevin Nash there in WCW when he was doing some booking there. I don't know if you want to call it that, putting himself over there. But anyway, yeah, congratulations. I know some of the stuff that took place, but no, I did not watch it.
The funny thing is I had to go back because I missed the Hall of Fame this week. I did see WrestleMania, but I missed the Hall of Fame. And I just now gone back yesterday and got through about halfway. I got through Rikishi and Larry Zbyszko and Medusa. And I tell you what, just with those first three alone, I'm looking forward to Lanny Poffo and the Bushwhackers and, the rest that get on there and do their talking. Even Nash, I heard, did a good job. So
yeah, that's what I heard. I'm really looking forward to seeing where Randy got inducted too. I was brought up on the old Memphis wrestling, and of course we got the ICW, Intercontinental, God damn it, International Championship Wrestling. They had a studio, the studio back there in Toronto Road down in Lexington, Kentucky. They used to come to Ashland about once a month. So I knew the Macho Man, back when I was 15 years old. I was just a little fan, of course, setting up rings for all the people that come through here. So it's a real honor for guys like that paid their dues through the years, and then for them to finally induct Randy into the Hall of Fame. I think that's awesome. It speaks volumes for his talent and for the Poffo family, and also to have Lanny there as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it myself. But I've just seen little clips here and there, to be honest with you.
So, Bobby, I guess I want to get your thoughts on the Hall of Fame itself. I mean, obviously it's an incredible honor, the wrestlers that do get into it, and even, the actors and other people who have, been bestowed upon such an honor. Does the wrestling community really buy into it, or do they know it's a political avenue for Vince McMahon to make money?
Well, it's a gimmick like everything else. I think the true wrestling fans, the old school wrestling fans, the people that are students of the game of wrestling, and I was a fan, I always was, I was for a long time. I've been around the business pretty much my entire life, and definitely my entire adult life. I think the fans know, what's up with it. It's big business. It's a ticket seller. And that's the whole order of, from the time you sell a first ticket, it's a fucking business, and that's good for Vince. It's good. It's an honor for these guys to get into it. But, Ray Stevens, when he was out there in California, they should have inducted him maybe while he was there, and had Pat Patterson while he's still alive, induct him into the Hall of Fame. So the people, and I'm not on the inside of WWE. I know a lot of guys that work there. I stay in touch with a lot of them. But I can only speak for myself. But, guys like Ray Stevens, the guy was one of the top heels and drew huge money out in the Bay Area. That would have been a great opportunity. And just like when I was in Florida, that would have been probably a good time to induct Randy, where his family, was from there. And also my trainer, Professor Boris Malenko. I had Terry Funk tell me a long time ago he was going to go, I want to say it's about 95. He was going down to St. Petersburg to get into the NWA, WCW Hall of Fame. And, of course, I'm glad that him and Dory, got into the WWE Hall of Fame, I think, like 2009. But Terry was telling me one night in Knoxville, he was like, where I'm going down there tomorrow to St. Petersburg is I'm going for a payday, and then he said, people like my daddy and my brother, hell, your trainer, Boris Malenko, those are the guys that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Of course, that was, way back when. But, there's so many guys that could be there. Hell, the Rock and Roll Express, I love those guys to death. They're good guys. The Midnight Express, some of those feuds that them guys had, and I think they eventually will. And it's no disrespect towards the Bushwhackers, because them guys, they was in the WWF and WWE, so them guys all deserved it. So without taking anything away from anyone that got inducted, there's so many other people that could be in, a quote legitimate Hall of Fame. You look at the 50 greatest wrestlers of all time, or the 50 greatest tag teams of all time. Some of those people that's in the WWE Hall of Fame. Hell. Again, and I'm not making a dig on Kevin Nash, but, hell's far. There's so many guys that go in before him. Put a damn Ray Stevens in before him. But again, it's not taking anything away from him, but the fans. Vince is a genius, and with what Triple H and Stephanie and Vince are doing with the WWE, they know what they're doing. It's a big business. It's a big corporation. And the bottom line is they're not catering to me, the wrestling fan. They're not catering to me as a professional wrestler or former talent or whatever you want to call it. They're catering to a TV audience that tunes in every Monday night, and, they tune into every SmackDown, and they tune into every pay-per-view, and they pay their $9.99 a month, and that's who they're catering to, and that's the masses. And good for them, because that's what they're doing. They're in it to make money. So, congrats to all of them. It's a great honor. My God, it's a great honor to remember all these people, but there's so many more. So it does say something political. If it wasn't political, you have to look at someone like Ivan Koloff, who in 1972 was a WWF champion there, and he's still not in the Hall of Fame. Why? I don't know. But I'm sure there's some kind of a draw there, or a holdback, or something. So you look at these guys that deserve it. Who really should be and who shouldn't be. The bottom line is, who's going to get in that Hall of Fame? The people that the WWE and the corporate people there, Vince, Stephanie, Triple H, decide to be there, and who they can work a deal out with. It took years for them, I guess, to settle with Randy to get him in there. So, more power to them. It's a great thing for the fans, for the students and the old guys. That's me. Hell, look at the guys that should be there. Like I said, the Midnight Express and Cornette as the manager, and then look at the Rock and Roll Express, and look at, Ivan Koloff, and look at the Ray Stevens. And the fans know that stuff. The sincere, old-school wrestling fans know that. But you know what? It's the WWE. They're going to do what they're going to do, and they're going to make money, and they're going to make a hand over fist, and God bless them. More power to them.
You know, Bobby, you brought up Ivan, and that's who I was going to bring up too. I'm holding out that maybe they're going to bring Ivan and Nikita Koloff in together. Well, we'll see if that happens. So good grief, they don't even have Lou Thesz in the Hall of Fame, for God's sakes.
I don't know. A lot of it's political, I'm sure, but I think eventually, Lou, Ivan, Nikita, I think Ricky and Robert, I think Bobby and Stan and Dennis and Jimmy and all them guys, I think all of them will eventually be there. It's just a matter of time. I think there's times you can time things, and I just mentioned a couple, being one was in Florida. They could have got Randy, didn't maybe, and I think, and I'm being biased on this, probably, Malenko, while they was there, because he carried, championship wrestling in Florida on his back, him and Eddie Graham, and built that territory up with all the talent that came through there for years. And then, like I said, going to California in the Bay Area, I could have put Ray Stevens in there. But again, what do I know? I'm a fan. I was a fan. I have to be involved in the business. I love the business, and I'm still a fan. So, I think all them guys will get their just due eventually. And again, that's not to take anything away from anyone that's been inducted. And congratulations on Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, my God, look what he's done. And they do all the tie-ins. That's the thing. The WWE, they're out there in California. They do the tie-ins with the kind of a Terminator type entrance for Triple H, and there's a tie-in there with Arnold getting inducted. And then you got to look at the Furious 7 coming out this week with, and of course, The Rock, got a big star up there, and he's just huge movie star. He's in that, and then you bring out Ronda Rousey, who's going to bring in, be in there. So they know what the hell they're doing. I'm just a fan. They know what the hell they're doing. They can tie all that Hollywood stuff, and they're entertainment. It's world wrestling entertainment. They know what the hell they're doing. I'm just a fan.
So Bobby, how did you get hooked up in wrestling in the first place, and how did you managed to get hooked up with the Malenkos, who are some of my favorites? What was it like being in rings with Boris and Dean?
Well, first of all, like I said, I was always a fan, and I used to go to every show I could in the tri-state area, meaning Ashland, Kentucky, Huntington, West Virginia, Lexington, Kentucky, Columbus, Ohio, Charleston, West Virginia. Anything in Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio that I could get to, I went to. At the age of about 15, I started to set up the ring for the old ICW. Memphis came a couple times to this area. And my brother and I, we learned to sneak in from about age 12, and we started setting up rings up about age 15, and I was always involved in it. And I was just a skinny kid that loved professional wrestling. I started lifting weights and getting, bigger, stronger, and faster, whatever you want to, that BFS, bigger, faster, stronger. Now I'm just bigger, fatter, slower. But yeah. But I met up with the local guy. I had actually went to the Monster Factory up there. I drove up there for a weekend and hung out, and I was like, I don't know if this is the place for me. Came back home, meaning Kentucky, and I found a guy that really didn't smart me up, and I really didn't know that much other than, this is back in, it was tough to get into the business, but I had about 10 or 12 matches all around the state of Kentucky, and anyway, a gentleman had sent me a letter. I was sending letters out all over the country to these promoters and people, just pictures, pictures saying, how do you train? What do I do? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I ended up getting a letter from a gentleman out of Minnesota named Marvin Joel, and had a flyer in there for a Malenko school, and Marvin and I are still friends today, and said, the Malenkos are some of the best craftsmen in the business. You want to learn this business, go to Tampa, Florida. And I packed everything I had in a little Chevette, and I drove to Florida, and I showed up there on a Saturday morning, and I got in the ring, and Boris Malenko, he let me in the ring. Deegan wasn't there, Jody wasn't there, just some regular students were there. And Larry, or Professor Malenko, he called a little match for me with one of the students, said, do this, do that. And he could see that I kind of knew what the hell I was doing, but I didn't. I was stiffing a guy. The guy would go to suplex me, and hell, I'd block it, and the guy would have to lift my whole weight up. I was like, again, wasn't punches or anything, but just, stuff like that. So finally we walked outside, and he said, listen, kid, I'd like to help you, but here's what I want you to do. He said, all those guys up there in West Virginia and Kentucky, he said, God bless them. He said, all they want to do is punch and kick and push people. And he said, if you want to learn wrestling, forget everything you think you know, and let's start at square one, and I'll help you. Do we have a deal? We shook hands, and that was our deal. And I said, yes, sir. And I learned from all the way from a lockup and from mat wrestling, which I had done some wrestling. Again, it was just very informal. But so after about 4 months of doing his conditioning, which was fucking camp hell, 10-on-1s, push-ups, Hindu squats, neck bridges, and all the basic stuff, he made me pay my dues that way. There was another guy named Rico and myself, and we was kind of standing out with the guys that we were training with. And he said, hey, I'm going to bring Dean in. And Dean at this time was going to Japan quite a bit. And he said, I'm going to bring Dean in to work with you. And, man, when I heard that, and the first time I was in the ring with Dean, I was shitting razors. I was like, this guy's going to, he's going to stretch me. He's going to beat the living shit out of me. I've been watching tapes over at Malenko's house of his sons, and I was like, oh, my God. And Carl Goss would come down on Sunday sometimes, and I'm thinking, holy shit, I'm going to get killed. And I was in a ring. I'll never forget it. The first time I was in the ring with Dean, Dean called me up there. I got in the ring, and there was another guy there named Larry Drake, and we done a couple of things, and Dean was just talking us through them. And Dean said, here, let me show you this. And he went to do a knee lift to show the other guy how to do a knee lift. And I was bent over, and I turned and jumped out, kind of out of the way. And Dean said, listen, I'm the guy here that you need to be the least worried about. I'm more safer than anyone. If you're going to learn from me, you need to listen to what I'm telling you. Because I thought he was going to fucking knee me in the face. I thought the damn shoe still, And from that moment on, Dean and I clicked. I was like, yes, sir, no problem. And Dean's just a couple years older than me, so I was like, yes, sir, no problem. And, he showed me what he was doing. He told me exactly. And from that moment on, Dean took over my training because the other guy and myself were getting a little bit more advanced than some of the other guys because we had athletic ability and some wrestling skills and, some showmanship, if you will. But anyway, that's my first. And then one time on a Sunday, Larry or Professor Malenko stopped me and he said, Bobby, he said, come here for a second. I said, yes, sir. He said, listen, Jody's going to come over, which I'd heard the rumors about Jody, how tough he is. He was trained by Gotch and this and that. Anyway, Dean and Joe was getting ready to go back to Japan. He said, I want you and Rico to do a little tag match with just us five here. He said, I'll referee it. He said, you and Rico against Joe and Dean. And, hell, I was like, oh, man, what an honor to be asked. And then we were sitting and we worked out some stuff because they wanted to work on our timing for some tag team stuff they'd get ready to do in Japan. So that was the first time I was in the ring with Joe, And those guys were nothing but professionals. They never stretched me. They never beat the living shit out of me. And I just listened and I learned. And when you're in there with those kind of guys, that's all you can do. You have to be a complete dumbass or a complete think-you-know-it-all to not learn from those from Malenko family, And they brought in so many good guys through the years, And Dean, in my book, didn't pay me, which I know we'll get to. I probably didn't give enough credit to Dean to how much he actually did help me, because he really did help from about the 4-month period on in my training. He really helped me. His dad helped me, probably, 30 or 40%, and then Dean probably helped me the other, probably 50%, and then Jody helped me, probably another 10 or 15%. So between all of them, I got more, right at, you can't go more than 100%, I guess, but they all just, that Malenko family helped me like you wouldn't believe. And I try to pass those traditions on to these young kids nowadays that ask me for insights or ask me to show them something or ask me to train them and help them in some way or consult with the company or small indies. I don't know if you call them companies, small independent shows. I try to give my insights and tell them, hey, the marquee still says wrestling, but it's also fucking entertainment. So give them a good show, wrestle hard, and then you entertain.
Hey, it's the Undisputed Wrestling Show, and we have the pleasure and honor to speak with Blaze and Bobby Blaze. And I'm going to kick it over to one of my partners here, the bearded wonder himself, Zane Ulysses Paisley.
Well, Bobby, once again, thank you so much for coming on the show. You and I have conversed over Facebook a few times. Can you let all of our listeners know how they can follow you on Facebook? Because you don't just talk about pro wrestling stuff. You talk about a lot of different things on there, and it's a great read. So can you give out your social media info, your Facebook and your Twitters?
Yes, and I appreciate you getting that over for me, Zane. On Facebook, my personal page is Bobby Blaze Smedley. It's just Bobby Blaze Smedley. Just, I've got room for friends all the time. My fan page is Bobby Blaze Athlete. It's on Facebook as well as Bobby Blaze Athlete. I keep that strictly. A friend of mine runs that with me, and I keep it strictly professional wrestling. Promoting shows like this, for the angrymarks.com and the Undisputed Wrestling Show and any show that I'm going to be on or any DVDs or, hell, I posted Rip's on there. I posted Rip Rogers, interview on there because I thought it was so tremendous. But you go to Bobby Blaze Smedley for my regular Facebook, go to Bobby Blaze Athlete for the fan page, and on Twitter and Instagram, I'm at Bobby Blaze 744, and my Twitter has, I think I just hit like 22,000 people today, actually. I got a real active Twitter account, and I'm thinking, holy shit, for no fuck like me, there's a lot of people that follow me, and, if they just listen to half what I say, then they'll be as about as, informed as anyone else will, I guess, as to, I keep it between my book and my wrestling, and I put that on my Twitter. It's strictly motivational. It's business, it's motivation, and it's my book, Pin Me, Pay Me. So again, it's Bobby Blaze 744 on Twitter and Instagram, Bobby Blaze Athlete on Facebook, and Bobby Blaze Smedley on Facebook for my personal. And feel free to hit me up there and tell them you heard me on the Undisputed Wrestling Show and let me know what you think and put these guys over, man. Put the fucking show over. Put Kevin over. Put Zane over. Put Rick over. Put the Morning Star, Will Huckabee on there. Put them all over.
Well, and if we're putting people over, let's put over our friends, the Razor Ramones, too.
Oh, hell yeah. Put them over. I don't know them. I haven't seen them in person, but I follow them on Twitter. I follow them on Facebook. I download their shit on YouTube. And hell yeah, and anytime I hear Cornette cutting a damn promo on them, I'm thinking, holy shit, these guys got something going on. I'm a Ramones fan, and those guys were some of my earliest followers on Twitter. And I never will forget that because you always remember the first few people that follow you, and they first hit me up on Twitter. And they're like, holy shit, Bobby Blaze is following us. So I was like, God damn, they know who I am? So I thought it was fucking awesome, and I appreciate it. So yeah, fucking put over the fucking Razor Ramones, by God. You better hit them up on Facebook. You better hit them up on Twitter. And you damn sure guaranteed if I'm ever in Lexington, Louisville, Jeffersonville, Jack Me Off, wherever, if the fucking Razor Ramones are there, I'm going to be there. I'll be a 280 pound, 220 pounds from Mount Kentucky, and I'll be fucking just bouncing off people's bodies, and I don't care if they can fucking throw their t-shirts at me, they can cut promos on me, but by God, we'll have a hell of a good time. We'll party before, during, and after, and put the fucking Razor Ramones over for sure.
Well,
let's go.
They're gonna love that. So you mentioned your book, Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boots Will Travel.
Zane, the show's over. He's not going to be able to top that one.
Well, tell our listeners about Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boots Will Travel. I will admit I have not had a chance to read it yet, but I have read some of the excerpts. And man, this, from what I've read, it's not just a wrestling book. It's kind of a life book. It talks about your travels, and it's such an interesting writing style where it's not, this happened, this happened, this happened. You're talking about your fanny packs and your Zubaz going to an adult place, those are three of my favorite things. So tell our listeners about your book.
Well, my book is called Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boots Will Travel. It's available on Amazon. If you hit me up on Facebook, I do send out autographed copies, personalized and autographed. But the easiest way to get it is go to Amazon and download the free Kindle. If you don't have a Kindle, just download the free Kindle app. Download the book. Hell, it's $4.50. I get like $2 off of it. I'm not going to make $1 million off of it. Download the damn book. If not, I think right now Amazon's got it on sale for like $12. It comes with, free shipping. If you're unlimited, with Amazon, it's about life, man. I talk pretty much from the time I was born, to becoming a wrestling fan at, probably about the age of 5 or 6. And it goes through my entire career. And most people tell me, and it's got 72 or 73 reviews. Most of those, 50 of them, are 5-star reviews, and it's from people I don't even know. I get letters from people all over, and that's the shoot. I get a letter 2 weeks ago. A guy sent me his book. He ordered Amazon, ordered there, paid the shipping, had it sent to me, put a $20 bill in it for me to pay for shipping and send it back to him autographed, gave me a 5-star review, only because it's like you and me sitting here, it's you and me sitting at the bar, and you say, hey, Bobby, do you know so-and-so? Hey, Bobby, have you been there? Have you been here? Who did you wrestle? And what it is, it's a book about life, the adversity of overcoming, childhood illness, to being, a skinny guy wanting to get in wrestling and build my body up, to meeting up with the Malenko's, to traveling to Japan, England. I've been on 5 continents, man. You talk about, North America, so you got, Canada, United States of America, of course, and Mexico. Then you've got Australia, South Africa, Asia. When I was over in Japan, some people tell me I've been there 7 times. I think it's 5 because I don't fucking remember, but I was there. and over in Europe and England. So, it's about that, man. It's about life. It's about, what happens on the road sometimes. That's what I have Boots Will Travel. I try to tell a little story with each country I was in, things that happened. Hell, I talk about lesbians in it. Hell, who doesn't like a good lesbian story? I talk about, sadly enough, people that's passed away. I got a chapter called Just Passing Through with some of the guys, and I know so many people has passed away through the business. So you can go from anything, from training to traveling to seeing the world, and being probably, I say it's not bragging, not boastful. I got a fucking master's degree in communications. Go figure that out. Okay? I'm probably the most educated guy that's a dumbass you'll ever meet. But I've also seen the world, and I probably could have stopped after about the 9th fucking grade in high school and seen the world and got more of an education than I ever got in a school book, because I got the experience and education of the world, of meeting people, talking to people, and being an observer of people in the ring, out of the ring. I've met people all over the world, and I love professional wrestling. I love meeting professional wrestling fans. Believe it or not, I just got pinned today. I hadn't been pinned for a while. I met a young kid, probably 15 years old. Some guy from the state recognized me at the store. I won't go into detail. He basically come up and he's like, Bobby, this kid's a wrestling fan. I know you don't know me, blah, blah, blah. He said, my name's such and such. He said, would you take a picture of this guy? It was an autistic child, about 15 years old. Fucking kid was going nuts, man. I'm shaking his hand. It's fucking 7 o'clock in the morning. I said, yeah, I'll take a picture with him, get talking. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll lay right here. The kid didn't know what the hell. When I laid down on the floor, he put his hand down on me, and I said, there you go, pin me, pay me. The guy snapped the picture. I said, send that fucking on social media, because them people think, he wrote me, and in private messages, he wrote me saying, you made my day, but you know what? They don't understand. They made my day. that I got to get out and see a young fan and the smile. And I'm going to post that tomorrow. I didn't post it today. I posted on Twitter, but I didn't post it else only because I wanted to get this show over. You know, I knew we needed to get this show over tonight. So I'm still out there. I'll still put your ass over. If that means helping some child, helping some kid that, you know, has autism, has some kid that has a special brain, whatever you want to call it, man, I got to meet people and see people. So, yeah, buy me, but hell yeah, I'm a mascot now. Shit. I've never used their services. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, buy the damn book. Feed me, pay me. Available on Amazon. Download the motherfucker. Tell your friends to download it. And then order the damn book too. Or write me on Facebook and I'll send you an autographed copy of it, you know. Be glad to, because it's about life. It's about things that take place in the real world, in the ring, outside the ring, and in different countries, and also about the fans. And I try to give something back to professional wrestling, because professional wrestling gave so much to me.
Well, excellent. So our listeners need to go and find you on Facebook, find you on Twitter, and order your book from Amazon or order it directly from you. Are you going to be any upcoming events anytime soon that our listeners can come and shoot the shit with you?
Oh, anytime I'm out, man, you can shoot the shit with me. The only thing I'm going to do, believe it or not, I'm such a fan. I'm going to a show here. I've got a friend that used to promote shows over in New Zealand and Australia. He's over here. He's actually in Louisville now. He's going to be in town. We're going to go to a show up in West Virginia next week in the 11th. Fucking Stan Hansen's going to be there, man. I've never met Stan Hansen.
No.
He is doing a rare autograph signing in fucking West Virginia. Stan Hansen of West Virginia, for a local promoter I know. And I'm going up there, they've got Stan Hansen, Brutus the Barber Big Tape, Ricky Morton, and I'm going to go up there as a fan, and I'm always there to sell my books and sell my DVDs, etc. So, yeah, I'm going to be up there April 11th up in Madison, West Virginia, if anyone's up that area. I'm just now getting into, I did a big thing with Cornette and Mick Foley back in the summer here in my hometown, only because it was in my hometown. I didn't have to travel. Plus, it was such a unique opportunity to get to hang out with Mick Foley and Jim Cornette. I couldn't pass it up. But, yeah, I was starting to get back out. I had some health problems in the past. And I'll start going to some of these fan fest. I had to actually cancel one down at the Wilmington, at the Coastal Center there in March. Some things came up personally. People don't understand, I was basically for the last few years, I've been a single parent raising both my children. My oldest child is now 20 years old. He's in the U.S. Marines, so he's on his own. And I still take care of my 17-year-old. He's big into snowboarding. And he lived with me, so, you know, I've still been a responsible parent and a responsible adult that way. But and I'm not using my children as an excuse or anything, so I haven't been doing a whole lot other than if something's within about a 2-hour radius, I will go to. I went to several WWE events in Huntington, West Virginia, Charleston, West Virginia, Lexington, Kentucky, and I go back only because I get a hold of someone ahead of time and hang out. Scotty Armstrong is a friend of mine, and I was giving some books to Kane and Dustin Rose and Charles Robinson actually helped me, you know, too. So I was signing some books, and I was waiting for Scotty to get there, and he said, look at Bobby Blaze in the back of WWE. Vince got his own damn fan fest going on, you know. So that makes you feel good. But, you know, I don't have anything coming up other than the 11th. I'm going to be in West Virginia just doing a little meet and greet on my own, but I'll be honest with you. I work with Ricky Morton, you know, countless times. I worked with Bruce the Barber Beefcake, you know, several times in WCW. But I've never met Stan Hansen, so I'm just excited to if I can go up there and meet Stan Hansen. And I know he's a good friend with Joe and Dee Malenko, so I'm gonna share a few stories with him. And but yeah, as things come up, I'll post them on Facebook on the fan page or my personal page, and I always tweet things out, you know. So yeah, I don't have anything immediate other than April 11th up there. But anytime people see me out, I've been recognized, and it blows me away. that people recognize you on the street. You know, I've been in Baltimore, Maryland, Boston, Massachusetts, or Orlando, Florida, and people are like, hey, and then they'll start telling me what I've done. I'm like, well, I don't know, because I've only had 13 fucking concussions, so if you say I did it, I must have done it. You know, I had a guy tell me one time, he said, Bobby, you probably don't remember this, but we was in this hotel room in Orlando, and I'm like, well, I've been in a lot of rooms in Orlando, but, so where's this going, man? He goes, well, there was this big fucking party, and everyone was there, and you was like, some guy started betting that you wouldn't fucking, jump out the window, and I was like, oh shit, man. Where's this fucking going, you know? And I was like, you know, I knew I woke up kind of rough, and I was like feeling like I took 1,000,001 bumps. So I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about, you know? I'm downtown Orlando. I'm like, what the hell? And so I'm like, so what happened? He said, well, you fucking jumped, man. And I was like, well, hell's far, so why did you stop me? And he was like, well, it was only on the second fucking floor, you know, so people come up to me and tell me shit like that all the time, so thank God I was only on the second floor, hit the bushes below, you know, but shit like that happens to me everywhere. Just like I said, that's at store, some guy that works for the state that handles, apparently handles autistic and special needs children, and he comes up to me and says, hey, take a picture with this guy. I said, fuck, I'll take a picture with the thumbs up, the fist out, and then you fucking pin me. I don't care, right in the middle of fucking aisle. You know, put it on your, I said, send it out after tomorrow morning, you know, send it out. I got a show I got to do tonight. He goes, what show? And the guy pops a show. And I was like, well, it's a podcast, you know, and I'm not going to wrestle somewhere after I'm 50 years old, you know. But anyway, my point is, anytime someone sees me out, it makes my day. They think it makes theirs, but I take care of my family and my home. So when I'm out, it actually makes mine when someone says, you know, would you sign an autograph? Can I get a copy of your book? Can I get a DVD from you? Or can I get a picture taken with you? And I don't understand. My buddies have to tell me, you don't understand. You was on TV, locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally. You've been in magazines. You don't realize it. I said, no, I don't realize it because my brain, I can't think of those things due to the concussions. And I am working on a second book. It's coming along slower than the first book, but there's a whole deal about concussion work that are very real. So yes, if you see me out, if you see me anywhere, come up to me. Fuck, I hope it's a Razor Ramon concert. You know, let's have a good time there. You know, let's you know, invite me to a fucking local show. I'll come to your show. Provided you're not a goof, I got some goof want to run a show here, and they want me to come down and say, you know what, well, you don't fucking promote except for 2 or 3 days before your show, and you got a guy like Tracy Smothers on your show, and Tracy's calling me at 10 o'clock the night before a show, saying, Bobby, I heard about that show, you know anything about it? I see that, Tracy, I see one fucking poster. You better make sure you get your money before you come to town, you know. If you're that kind of person, I'm probably not going to promote your show. I'm not going to be there. But if you got a guy like Stan Hansen coming in and you know, Bruce Beefcake, and you got Ricky Morton, and I know this promoter, yeah, more likely I'll be there. You got the fucking Razor Rose concert, I'm going to be there. If it's something legit, I'm going to fucking be there because I'll put my trust and love into that as a fan and as a man and as a human being. But yeah, if you're some goof, you don't fucking invite me to some event where you're taking canned goods and non-perishable items and you draw 4 fucking people. I won't be there. I've been there, done that, bought the fucking T-shirts, had them made, resold them, and signed every fucking one of them, and I will not do it again.
Okay, Bobby, catch your breath. All right, this is the Undisputed Wrestling Show. We are talking to the awesome Bobby Blaze, and you were talking about autistic children. I work with autistic kids at the middle school that I'm at, and Will Huckabee has an autistic child, so we know right where you're at. Speaking of the Morning Star, Will Huckabee, handoff tag, you're it.
Actually, Rick and everybody else, actually, both of my sons are autistic. So I have 2 autistic children. Now, I love both my kids.
I'm sorry, Will.
Here's no problem. Bobby, here's my one question. You know, you started off at Smoky Mountain. And recently on the Steve Austin podcast, Triple H was talking about trying to get a lot of guys in NXT back to cutting promos for themselves instead of having it written down for them and them having to memorize it. How big was learning from Jim Cornette about how to cut promos and how to talk people into the building? How important was that for your development, not only as a wrestler, but as a moneymaker?
Oh, man, it was huge. Who the fuck else can you learn from that's better than Jim Cornette? I can't see, you know what I'm saying? There's so many people, there's great guys out there that got great minds for the business. But Cornette, is one of the original investors, one of the original owners, him and Sandy Scott and Tim Horner. And, of course, we had Rick Rubin backing us, blah, blah, blah. But when Cornette says, it took me, first of all, let me say this, for anyone listening that happens to be a wrestler or wanting to break into wrestling, it took me 9 months to get into Smoky Mountain. I had talked to Cornette on the phone from Florida when I was working out in Florida. I had already been to Canada once. I had been to South Africa at that point. I went back to Canada a second time. I went to Australia, and Tommy Rogers and Bobby Fulton helped me get a tryout with Cornette. My first time, just to a professional company, Smoky Mountain Wrestling was, the first night I went and tried out was in Beckley, West Virginia, and Cornette pulls me into the locker room and says, "Hey, this is Brian Lee. Do you have a problem putting him over?" Well, I've been on tour over in Australia. I look at Brian, I'm like, I know who Brian Lee is. He's 6'7", 280 pounds, And Cornette's like, I'm like, "No, what's your fucking finish, man?" He goes, "It's called the Final Countdown. You call a match." I called the whole fucking match, come back. Mark Curtis and Brian Lee saying, hire this guy. A couple weeks later, Cornette hires me. So within a couple weeks of that, I've done a couple of TVs. Cornette comes to me and says, "Bobby, I've got this great idea for you. What do you think about this?" Well, I always worked as a heel. I cut heel promos. I had worked 2 different tours in Canada. I worked tours in South Africa. I worked tours in Australia. And I worked all over Florida independently. And so I've got this southern accent, if you haven't noticed it. So it's easy for me to get heat, because I got this fucking accent. But in Smoky Mountain, this southern Appalachian, eastern Kentucky, all the way down through, Knoxville, out towards Nashville, got this accent that people can relate to. They're like, that guy's like one of us. I'm 6'2", I'm 6'1" now because I walk with a fucking hump in my back. But, you're 6'2", you're 220 pounds, and people can relate to you, see? And he's like, "Bobby, these people, they understand you. They understand the way you talk. We want you to be a baby face. We want to give you a push." And Tim Horner's like, "Bobby, we like you." And I was working for Bobby Fulton. Every night I went and worked for Smoky Mountain, I was working with Bobby Fulton, working as a heel. So I get to work as a heel with Bobby Fulton every night. He's a face. So I'm up there learning from him still. Then I'm going down south working with guys like, Buddy Landell and Chris Candido and Tony Anthony and all these guys as a baby face. And then my character comes into development with Cornette saying, "Here's what I'd like you to do." And I never will forget the first time he says, "Bobby, I want you to stay in the building. We're going to cut some promos afterwards." And that was the first night that I upset Tony Anthony for the TV title. And he had won it like 4 weeks in a row. And it was the first time they put the TV title on me. I wasn't junior heavyweight champion yet. I was still waiting for Candido to get there. And a long way from the Smoky Mountain heavyweight title against Jerry Lawler, And so Cornette saying, "Bobby, here's what I want you to do. I want you to look out there." Now, you've got to imagine this, guys. Put this in your mind. I want you to imagine that little red-headed kid with freckles that's standing in the front row, and he's screaming for you. And he said, "That's you when you're 10 or 12 or 14 years old." He said, "That's the people I want you to relate to." So you reach out, you grab them people, get those people to believe in you as a baby face. And so when I've done those interviews, I'm sitting there, I'm talking to myself when I was a kid. And then I've got Ricky Morton in my ear, and who the fuck better learn from the cell than Ricky Morton saying, I remember the first time he said, "Bobby," this was in Johnson City, Tennessee, he said, "Bobby, watch the way I sell. Get that fucking sympathy from these fans. Make them believe you. Don't die, but make them fucking believe you got a chance to win these matches." And he said, "Watch me sell." And I had watched the guy from Canada sell as a baby face. I was watching Bobby Thornton sell for me as he's a baby face. So I thought, oh yeah, I know how to sell. But then I watched Ricky Morton. I'm like, when you watch Ricky Morton fucking sell, there's a reason why the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express sold out all those fucking buildings. You watch Ricky Morton sell and you get it. And so I'm watching him sell and I'm thinking, holy shit, and I'm starting to learn. So you got Cornette helping you with your promos, then you got Ricky Morton telling you to sell. How can you fucking go wrong? You know, if you can prove me wrong by not having Cornette in your ear telling you say this, say that, and he said, I'm not telling you the words to say, I'm giving you a scenario. Put it in your words. And then Ricky said, don't sell like me, but sell like me. And I knew what he meant, and I hope you all know what I mean. So when you got those things going, in the area we was working in, you know, we got Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, the Carolinas, you know, and sometimes, you know, we go down to Georgia. But, you know, when you got those people right there, and then Cornette calls you with an idea, hey, I got an idea, we're going to put the heavyweight strap on you, blah, blah, blah. You got a great mind in the business, knowing, you know, what direction he's taking it in. You got to be on board, man, you know. There was no way I would be an idiot to not listen to what anything that Cornette or any of them guys suggested to me or told me to do, because they had been there, done that, and we were the last of the, quote, regional or territorial type, you know, wrestling companies around. You know, the ECW was around then, but after that, of course, you had your, you know, WWF and WCW, and hell, the first couple of times that WCW come to Knoxville, Tennessee, they drew 473 people one time. We was fucking doing 5,000 people, you know. So that's a fucking good feeling, man. When you got someone that's on TV every Saturday on a primetime spot on TBS, which I dreamed of as a kid, and you're working for a company that's on every Saturday on you know, all your public access, and then you've got several, you know. TVs out of Hazard, Kentucky, and Barbersville, Kentucky, and Knoxville, Tennessee, and Johnson City, Tennessee, and Morristown, and you're still packing those buildings in. It's a good fucking feeling, man, let me tell you, because you know you're doing your job.
This is the Undisputed Wrestling Show. We're talking to Bobby Blaze. Bobby, shockingly, we're out of time already.
Hey, that's unacceptable.
Dude, I'm going to have you come back on again. We haven't even talked about WCW yet.
Yeah, well, you can have me on anytime you want. Just hit me up on Facebook, like we said, under Bobby Blaze Smedley, Bobby Blaze Athlete on the Facebook, or Twitter at Bobby Blaze 744. You've got my number now. Hit me up, man. I'll be glad to be on the show. We'll talk about WCW. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about. I'm open to it. I mentioned it on my book, Kid Me, Pay Me, available on Amazon. And let me just say this, you know, Kevin, I appreciate it. I know you get ready to have Morning Star on here. And also Zane, the Bearded Wonder, thank you. And the Prophet Rick, I appreciate it, guys. And I appreciate, you don't understand, I appreciate how much, from the bottom of my heart, having me on the Undisputed Wrestling Show. Thank you so much, guys. Other than that young man I met this morning at the store, and God, I can go on forever about how you have to pay it forward in life. Other than that, you know, I want to let you all know it has been my pleasure, my honor to be on this show so much. And you guys are nothing but professional, courteous, and I put you over anytime you want, just like I put that young boy over today so he can have his picture taken with me. Thank you so much,
Bobby,
guys. I hope you enjoyed it.
You forgot about the champ, Bobby.
Who did I forget about? I thought I said Kevin. Did I say NWA champ Morning Star? Who did I put over? The fucking Razor Rose will put them over again? Who the fuck you put over?
Morning Star Will Huckabee, the NWA Continental Champion.
I just said, I know you got the NWA champion Morning Star. I didn't say the Will Huckabee part, but hold on, let me lay down here. Wait a minute, I'm turning off my kitchen light. Now my living room light's on. I'm laying in the middle of the fucking living room. I got a little doggy sitting on the couch. He's watching me. I fucking put it on there. I lay down. Hey, Will, come over here and fucking pin me so I can put you over, would you please? just hook my leg, wrap me up, 1, 2, 3, pin me, pay me. But my second books would be called I Kicked Out on 2, and I may have to kick out on you. All right, so I want to say, the bearded woman's aim, the prophet Rick.
Before I let you go, hang on, I've got one more before I let you go, Bobby.
Okay.
The honorable CPA comes on here. Did you ever read Chris Jericho's book?
Did I what?
Have you ever read Chris Jericho's book? First book.
Yeah, that fucker put me in his first book, and I still expect the royalties from that.
You know what the funny thing is, Bobby? I just now finished reading that first book, finally. And
yeah.
It was funny. Here I am getting ready to talk to Bobby Blaze, and I see a Bobby Blaze reference in Chris Jericho's book talking about how you guys were suspended in WCW, and he was talking about how they were jacked, and Bobby Blaze, how could he get suspended for steroids when he looks just like everybody else out there in the fans?
That's right. I look just like you, see. I've got 20 fucking inch arms, I'll have you know, 10 each. and the only thing about that was so funny, the guys that got popped out of 150 guys, they kept testing the same fucking 6 over and over and over. And how you do that, I'm not sure. But, yeah, me and Bobby Eaton and Jericho and a few others, we kept getting tested, oddly enough, every other fucking month and tested clean. So that's job security, you know. No drugs in our system and obviously for me, no steroids in my system. So, yeah, and Jericho says, I killed you. He put that kid, if you notice his little thing there about my southern accent. But, yeah, I'm real happy for Chris. He's a good dude, and I know he had good intentions, but he's right. I look like you, so how the fuck can I be on steroids, you know? But it's a good plug. So,
Bobby, we love you, brother. We're going to have you come back on. We got to talk about WCW. We can't let you get away from us that easily. So we'll have you come back on in a couple months, okay?
Excellent. You let me know. Be glad to. Thank you. I appreciate it. Guys, have the rest of the show. Make it a good one. I appreciate each and every one of you. And, again, it's been my honor and my pleasure. Best of luck to all you guys.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Bobby Blaze with us tonight on the Undisputed Wrestling Show. And, you know, we got as much, if not more, than we bargained for with Bobby, and we're definitely going to bring him back on. What a fun guy, guys.
Oh, my goodness. That was amazing.
Awesome.
Did he break Rip Rogers' record? He got close.